All right, welcome in to the Maize and Blue Review, afternoon live, weekdays at 1. We're here every weekday at 1 o'clock, a part of Rivals.com, talking about the latest in Michigan sports. And it's great to bring on Mark Dotson, who joins us here. And you see on the screen, or if you're listening, you'll hear him in a second as we talk to him. Mark, how you doing? Great to have you on.
Hey, man. Good. Thank you, Dotman. It's good to talk to you, baby.
Well, you know what? That's a good thing that you say that, because most people, when I say Mark Dotson, they're like, who's that? But I say Dotman, all of a sudden, wait a second, for Michigan fans. And I found out a long time ago that Mark knows as much or more about Michigan athletics and Michigan sports than anybody I've ever met. So, you've got that going for you.
If you just keep it between you and me, man, we know the deal. We got a lot of folks out here that don't, and that's their problem. I've been fortunate enough to have relationships with people that have had the confidence in talking to me about certain things that are related to Michigan sports, and being a sports fan, that's great for me. And then being one that finds it interesting to share what I may know to the extent that I can with others, that's even better.
I remember a long time ago, I was doing a show in Ann Arbor, and Michigan was putting they had the Halo going on, and everybody was talking about the Halo and footballs of excitement. And you're like, man, these people care more about what's going on outside the, off the field than they do what's going on the field. And, for Michigan football, like everybody, like, the people are really passionate about football, and in particular, Michigan football. Everybody loves that. What I've always enjoyed about you is that, yeah, you get that. You like football as much as anybody else, but you like basketball too. And a lot of times you get those two factions fighting. It's like, football is great, but hey, let's not.
I don't want to talk about basketball. I want to talk about football. I want to talk about that. Hey, man. And as you know, because you carried a sports talk show for as long as you did, and now that you're in the website business, you know just how psychotic and maybe pathological and obsessed fans are. They want anything. Oh, and that's why you got these multiple websites, and that's why you got these shows. There's a really good part about the fandom. They want to get down into anything that you in the weeds. The other part of it, though, is when they just get carried away with it. You just got to take the good with the bad.
You do. I mostly like talking about all of that. What I have found out over the years, and it's not great for this business or the radio business or any of the businesses that I've been in, but people like more about going after the rivals and in the off season, and like, we got you, more than they do anything about their own team. Or
hey man. And COVID is only taking things up a notch, because people at home, they are as distracted with other stuff as they normally would be. And they spend a whole lot more time on these sites and want to have discussions about anything. And here's the other part of this. Dennis, you know what I do for a living. I teach, and I'm a lawyer, etc. I'm day to day in my working life, I'm sitting down and I'm dealing with cases and decisions and breaking them apart and making arguments, etc. Hey man, everybody's turning to a little lawyer on these websites. They want to beat the other person down. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You don't make any sense. Let me tell you why I'm right and why you're wrong. You're stupid. Damn. I agree or disagree.
I tell you where they get it from. I've spent not the entire 2 days, but I've spent a little bit of the last 2 days watching this new Supreme Court judge, browbeat by every person that gets up there. What you mean by what you said, 25 years ago?
I want you to find a woman. What's a woman?
Yeah, I know she knew that was coming, but man, that's some intense scrutiny.
How good for you. Have you watched them before?
I've watched a little bit of it. I watched Kavanaugh. I watched some of it. When you get married and your wife sometimes you just stop and she's like watching and like, what kind of question's that? I'm like, what kind of question is that? I'm like, hey, you're right. What kind of question is that?
Hey man, I've mocked folks that were going before confirmation panels, and the the one thing that you just got to make sure that they stay true to is keeping their cool, because they're going to get challenged by people who think they are smarter than the actual candidate, but really are dumb as hell. And the hardest thing for somebody to do as a candidate is to sit there and be polite in receiving the question and providing a response. So you hear a lot of, with all due respect, which means that I'm about to say something that would ordinarily be disrespectful, but I don't want you to take it that way. Just don't take it that way. I'm not really disrespecting you, but I really am, because I qualified it with all due respect. And then also, that's a very interesting question. Thank you for that question, butthole. Anyway, yeah, man, I had to turn it off initially when they were just giving their little speeches before they got into, I don't know if you saw that part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're just giving their little speeches, and they limited a little bit. They limited some more when they actually asked questions, but originally it was just give a speech, and they talked about, oh, we're not going to turn this into a circus like the Democrats did, and now that they're asking questions, I turn it back on because I'm thinking, all right, maybe somebody might just look upon asking a good question that might be interesting to a law professor, and few and far between.
No, I know the fireworks are coming when it's like, here's the congresswoman who, and the first thing out of her mouth is like, let's dive into this Roe versus Wade. I'm like, okay, that's not going to be an easy one.
And Bork, from Bork on, they've all of them have been trained to say that might be an issue coming before the court, and it would be inappropriate for me to answer that question at this time. Yep. As much as they might want to stand on their political platforms and make a big deal out of it and try to gain some kind of political hay out of it or whatever else, the smart ones, and she is brilliant, the smart ones will give the response that has been universally accepted as the appropriate response, which is, I really can't weigh in on that, as that might be a matter coming before the court.
Yeah, she's keeping her cool. She's doing a good job, at least from what I've seen, the untrained eye. Now, my big nugget from this week was when Terrence Williams II 2 times went diving in there. 2 of the biggest plays for Michigan as they were able to beat Tennessee is, they flashed over to Chris Webber and Ray Jackson in the crowd. And I said, you know what? Terrence Williams reminds me of Ray Jackson. That's what's going on there. And so that was my big thing going.
I can't disagree with that. That's
take you before the game. Did you think Michigan had much of a chance against Tennessee?
No, I didn't. In fact, I can't think of another pool that I've been involved in where I made picks and didn't, no matter what kind of, and maybe this is the Beeline influence, I've always had them go through, whether I really thought they would or not. I've always, just based on principle, had them go through the Sweet 16. All right. This one I couldn't do it. Once I found, I didn't even have them beaten Colorado State. Once I found out that Jones wasn't going to be playing, I said, oh, dang. Personally, I want them to win. I just I didn't think they would. And I definitely didn't think they would beat Tennessee. No. And man, but this is a weird team. Weird, and if you look at the parts, you say, hey, man, who are you going to get it from? You don't know if you're going to get it from Houstan. You don't know if you're going to get anything from Diabate. You don't know if you're going to get anything from Eli, except bit pieces here and there. You don't know. You don't even know if Jones is going to play. Terrence Williams, you don't know if he's going to play and how much. You don't know. Guffin hasn't played in 2 weeks. Johns, come on. And you say, okay, how are they going to win this game? And they go to Ohio State. They beat them without honor. They beat Colorado State without their point guard. They beat Tennessee for the most part without their point guard. And you just want
Houston scoring.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It looked like Diabate was on the take the first half. Say, man, what's wrong? Dunk the ball. Put the ball in the basket. Point blank. Can't do it. Can't do it. Okay. Okay. And they
when they cut up that film, they throw like 5, 6 plays of him where everybody's sitting back. If they had an NBA scout in there, that's, oh my God, this guy's going to be a lottery pick. He's awesome. Then they'll play the next 6, and they're like, this guy shouldn't even be out on the floor. He is the ultimate roller coaster. You know, when you're talking, I'm the same way. I watch this team, you know, the win, loss, everything. This team can't score. They can't shoot. They can't score. You didn't mention Dickinson. He's played well as of late, but at times it's like he's not playing like he did.
Right.
You know, he's settling too much for some of this outside stuff. But the point guard position, you can make a case, you know, against Ohio State and against Colorado State, 2 different guys, but both of them played spectacular. Like DeVante Jones against Ohio State was great. And Frankie Collins was awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just so just athletic. His ability in the open floor is amazing. And so now they've got this game against Villanova coming up tomorrow. As I said here, he said, you think they got a chance? I said, yeah, you know what? They do have a chance. If they put it all together and they play their best game, they really haven't done that. A little bit against Purdue. They went to Iowa, played pretty well. They did on the road against Indiana, but they weren't able to do it in back-to-back games. But now here they are. They have back-to-back games. They might have DeVante Jones, Frankie Collins, and Caleb Houstan could, you know, hit more than just a little spurt ability, you know, like Clark Kellogg would say. You know, all these guys show up, which could happen. Brandon Johnson had 14 and 6, and last year's Sweet 16. He hadn't come anywhere close this year, but I don't know. It's the tournament that could happen.
Yep. Hey man, I can't dismiss these cats at all. I can't put any. The only thing I can put a finger on and say that they do is they play hard. They play hard. They don't have any. And if you compare them, oh yeah, you don't know if Eli Simpson, I'll call him Eli Simpson's gonna show up with the hook shot. You don't know, man. But they're gonna make you play. They're gonna have defensive breakdowns on the regular. They're going to turn that ball over like it ain't nothing on the regular. And you said
their most important guy, like Eli Brooks, will just hand the ball off to the other team.
Said, how did you do that? It would be a challenge for me. I've been able to keep most of my. I wouldn't have any hair, man, if I was coaching these dudes, because I'd be sitting there blowing up like nitro, like Izzo does every. Can you imagine Izzo coaching these folks?
No.
Because every mistake's turning into a freaking conference. It's got to be a referendum on let me show you how you just messed up. No, man, no.
Mark Dotson, you see him also known as Dotman. For people that are listening just on the podcast, resetting that. If you skipped ahead, I was talking on the Maize and Blue review this week. Somebody asked me a question about who I thought was coming back, and I put the percentages on it. And
what'd you say?
Well, I said I thought Dickinson was 90% to go, and then somebody came back and said, "I don't." Dotman said that he thinks with the NIL that he could be coming back. And then I saw this from Tim McCormick. This was last night here at the end. And for people that again are listening and don't see it, I've got Tim McCormick's tweet up on the screen who says, I would love to see Hunter Dickinson in the NBA next year. Here's why. I like him. I want him to realize his dream. It'll take a deep NCAA run to boost his stock and get drafted. Well, they're on the precipice of that. If Dickinson leaves, he's talking about a 5-star center that just decommitted from LSU.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he says, I still expect Hunter to return.
He said, I still expect, like he always expected, or is that he means something else from that?
No, he still expected him to return. And this was just last night. So he's expecting with everything up to the minute here that Hunter Dickinson, I guess this isn't a deep run for him, but he's expecting him to come back. It felt like, there was a chance that he was going to leave last year. He was an older freshman coming in and, they said, hey, you got to work on your outside shot. Well, he worked on that a little bit. I know the scouts, nobody has him showing up in any first or second round projections, but he's also 7'1", and you feel like he can find a spot somewhere on a bench.
No.
On a bench in the NBA. You don't think so?
No.
You think he might be coming back, though?
A couple questions. One, I never said NIL would be the reason he would come back.
Okay, yeah, that was
All
somebody.
right, that's just somebody. And we got some folks who got some real convenient reading skill sets, okay, or real slippery attention issues, or real defined attention issues. No, what I have said recently is I think it is a more distinct possibility that he will come back than I ever thought when the season started. I thought he was gone. I thought he made it clear last year he didn't want to come back last year. And the only reason he came back last year is because the pros said, you ain't ready, man. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. Now, I moved off that position that he definitely would not be coming back to there's a possibility. I'm not going as far as saying I expect him back because I don't know it like that. But I would not be surprised if he does return.
You know, one thing you can work on is your jump shot, and there was no doubt that he worked on that, and you could see it.
Let me fix that too. I went and saw him play in high school a couple times.
I remember that. I talked with you. Yeah, that's right.
He was a perimeter dude. He was not a post dude. This post game is a relatively new development, at least to the extent that he's been able to play in the post. He was very capable and very willing to shoot from outside in high school. So the fact that he's doing it now is nothing new to him. It's something new to people who were unfamiliar with him before he came to Michigan, or who based their evaluation of him on last year's play entirely.
I was just reading something yesterday, and I forget the guy's name, but he had cut-ups of Hunter, and he was talking about his shot, but he was saying that, he's got to do better with his footwork. He's got to do better with his defensive stance, and these guards can just, and he had a bunch of things against Tennessee about, how they're just flying by him, and that's where he's really, especially, you can work on your stance and your effort that way. I don't know about increasing your foot speed. I don't know, maybe you can take ballet or skip. I don't know how
Let me dispel something that is a common myth that is carried by folks who are basketball fans. You don't get that much better from one year to the next. You don't become a jump shooter from one year to the next. You don't become a more competent post player from one year to the next. You don't become a better ball handler or distributor from one year to the next, at least to the extent that's being suggested by you need to come back and work on your game. No. You need to come back because your game is not good enough to leave. All right? And if you talk to these folks that jump to the league and they're going through and they're doing their evaluation, they'll say, okay, if it's really about improving, am I going to be better off going to the NBA where I'll play every day just basketball against pros, or to the G League where I'll play every day just basketball against pro wannabe and some pros, or whether I'd be better off coming back and playing for a college coach in his system? Where am I really going to most likely improve my game? And most of them say, it ain't in college.
Well, Professor, Counselor, you're leading me right here to the next question. That'd be about Diabate and Houstan. Do you think they would be best served? What do you think they think that they would be best served? I don't know where they're going. But
I don't either. It's if you're talking about if somebody's trying to tell Caleb, you need to go back and work on your shot. Okay, how is that supposed to happen? How am I supposed to become a better shooter next year? I might get more shots. I'm gonna have to still play in the system. Is Coach Howard gonna commit to getting me shots? Is it that kind of party? Or is Coach Howard gonna set up a system whereby his team can succeed? Is he more interested in me, or is he more interested in team success? And the answer is self-evident. It's gonna be team success. You get better just by virtue of proximity is what's got to be said to Houstan. No,
he's got the green light though. And if he made more, I think he could shoot more. I think he would give him the ball more.
He is the worst shooter
Worst knockdown 3-point shooter.
Man, shooters don't shoot air balls. The guys I know that can shoot, Duncan Robinson, Glenn Rice, Isaiah Livers, whoever.
Fithian.
Fithian. You don't shoot. When the last time you shot an air ball, man?
Right. Air balls.
Shooters don't shoot air balls, man. No, he's not a shooter to me. He's a guy that they want to be a shooter. He's a guy that shoots a lot, but he's not a shooter. Not in my estimation. Diabate, the same thing, man. Where do they evaluate you right now? If you first round, you're probably gone.
Yeah, he's not first rounder.
If you early second round, you're probably gone. You might say, I'm looking at the draft. I might be in a better position because this draft might be loaded. I might be in a better position next year when it comes to people coming out, relatively speaking. Maybe if I get a little stronger, maybe if I got to play center as opposed to the 4 position and I get more paint touches, maybe. But the pros, the scouts scout based on potential. They anticipate that you might get stronger. They anticipate that you might be out of position, et cetera, et cetera. They see all that and they draft you based on that.
You've got 5 more minutes. I'm keeping you longer than I said.
Yeah, I do. Let me let my student know that I'm going to be a little bit late. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you do that, and I'm going to set up this next question because you have Eli Brooks, who he played as a freshman, so he's got his extra year. He can't come back, but you do have DeVante Jones because of the COVID. He could have another year. You've got Doug McDaniel, who's coming in as a guard, under 6 foot. He's a 4-star player out of Virginia who committed back in June. 5'11", Doug McDaniel. Of course, you got Frankie Collins. I wonder if Michigan would want DeVante Jones to come back. You might say that's a stupid question. And maybe it is because DeVante Jones, the way it took him a while the first month, but he's been mostly Michigan's second best player this year. I don't think Michigan would be in fact, they wouldn't be in the tournament if it wasn't for DeVante Jones.
Nope.
The way he played against Ohio State. But you do have the young point guard coming in next year, and you do have Frankie Collins. How do you think Juwan, that conversation goes? Would he want DeVante Jones back with this team?
You're inviting me to speculate, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's speculation. Like, look, that's.
I'm taking off my de facto insider. This is straight up ranked speculation. Kinda. It's got a little sprinkling of other stuff, but mostly speculation. I happened to coincidentally speak to Phil Hubbard yesterday. He is, I don't know if you know, he coaches Doug McDaniel. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I've been teasing Phil about how tall is Doug? He said 6'2". I said, yeah, man, right. He said, I might be able to get him up to 6 feet. I said, okay, cool. Can he come in and play next year? He said he's way faster than Frankie Collins. Oh, I said, hold on. Do you know how fast Frankie is? He said, Dot. He said, Skeeter. That's what my really good friends call me. He said, man, he's way faster than Frankie. Okay? Now I'm just telling you what Hub said.
Is he faster than that Kennedy Chandler that Michigan just saw against Tennessee? Because that guy was fast.
Funny you mentioned that, because he also mentioned that they had played against Chandler in high school when he's AAU. I'm not sure how they ended up playing again. And he said, man, he's unbelievable. I see why Juwan was hugging him, and I see why Juwan was really recruiting him. He said he's just spectacular. He also Roach. He's familiar with the Roach that plays for Duke and just lit up Michigan State.
Yeah, hit the biggest shot of the game late, the 3.
Hey, man, another guy he's familiar with, and Keels. He used to coach Keels, et cetera, et cetera. He says Doug is way faster than Frankie. All right? I trust that. Hey, man, Frankie
can fly.
I thought so until he told me that Doug, what can Doug, if Frankie can fly, what does that say about Doug then if he's way faster?
Yeah.
What is Doug doing? All right.
The fastest
Anyway,
guy I ever saw was the guy from Duke that ended up going to Miami. Winston, but Winston, Winslow.
he was a big dude,
Winslow
man.
he was a big dude, but he could fly,
one of
man.
the fastest guys I've seen was the North Carolina guy. I cannot think of his name right now.
Oh, the
little point guard. Yeah. Anyway, he could fly. Hey man, Jaden Ivey can fly. He gets the ball, he's just turbocharged and he's gone. You just got to play catch up right away when you just got to get back. Anyway, back to your question. People like to talk about basketball in terms of who should be playing, suggesting that players like Buffkin, players like Frankie should be playing more. And the only reason they're not playing is because Coach Howard doesn't know what he's doing. All right, you've seen it. Oh yeah, he got poor rotation. He doesn't know how to bring people in and out because the fans know better than the coach. The fans see practices and know better than the coach. But let me just say this: the best players play. Coaches, this thing isn't personal. If a player is not playing, there's a reason why the player isn't playing. All right. I think it's kind of clear why Kobe is not playing more. He lacks confidence. He's going to get out there and he's just going to start nutting up all over the place. All right. Same with Brandon Johns for the most part.
Except they need him sometime for some.
You got to play.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to play him. Frankie has not been playing for a reason. Frankie has got some things to work on in terms of his development. And if he doesn't, and what we have seen recently is good Frankie. Great. And I'm happy to see good Frankie. Frankie's got some things to work on this offseason. And if he doesn't work on them sufficiently, then he will get passed over. When it comes to Jones, relatively speaking, I gotta think my instincts tell me he won't be back just because he probably wants to move on to something else. Kind of like Smith last year. It's just at some point you just say, you know what, man, it's time for me to do something other than play college basketball. Sometimes it's something for me to do other than go to class like I have to do when I play college basketball. You don't ever want to be the oldest guy in the club, Dennis. That's not a good look. That's not a good look, man.
I heard that Ty Lawson's the point guard. I wanted to say Raymond Felton, but I was thinking he's not thinking of Raymond Felton.
He was another blur, though.
Yeah, he was good. And Tynus Edney, I was going to say, but he didn't play for
UCLA. He's another blur.
He was fast too.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all good stuff. Well, we'll have to do this again.
Okay.
And talk basketball. You have you give Michigan a chance? You want to make a pick?
Oh, hey man, I can't. Hey man, they surprised me all season. They win games. They are a schizophrenic team. You've seen them. You've seen them within one game, like Indiana. Look like they're lighting the things up, and then the second half they just go entirely into the toilet. We've seen runs like that before. We've seen it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to come from. I'm just confident that they will be competitive. And if they get a Purdue type performance, they'll beat Villanova. I do think Villanova's a really good team, though.
Yeah, I'm all about the foul trouble in this one. I think if Michigan could stay out of foul trouble, and if they could get, I'm putting a roster up there. It's so small, I've got to put my reading glasses on. Samuel's 23 and Dixon. They're two big guys. Those guys are wide as they are tall.
Yeah.
But if they can find a way to get those guys, if Dickinson could find to draw some fouls instead of commit some fouls, to me, that's the biggest key in the game. So,
hey man, Diabate is going to be key here. And could be key. That's how I got to look at it. I don't expect them. I just hope they will show up. Houston could be key. Let me tell you something, man. The amazing thing to me, and I talked to Phil Hubbard about this yesterday. My question to him was, how do you get through high school at the level that some of these players are like Caleb and not develop an intermediate game. As you know, he's either 3-point shot or he's dead. He can't pull up short. He can't dribble to the hole. If he's moving with the ball, it's tough for him to pass it. He's not a good passer. And my question to him was, how does that happen? Why aren't those skills being developed? And he said,
is that what he said?
He said, all they want to do is shoot. AAU, all they want to do is shoot. They just want to shoot threes. They just want to shoot threes. And I'm saying, well, man, as a coach, how do you let that happen? Anyway, that's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, I thought we'd have an array of side steps and step backs and all this other stuff.
None of that, man.
No, he's a set shooter.
None of that.
And nothing wrong with being a set shooter. That's as a set
except
shooter.
when you need something, when you're starving, when you want something other than a step shooter.
Yeah, except when you want to go to the pros and you play high level college basketball, you need a little bit of that now. You need to get some open space to be able to get that shot off. All right, well, Professor, get to class. Apologize to the students. We appreciate your time. We'll do it again. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
All right,
always great catching up and talking with you.
Same here, baby. Be good.
All right, see ya. There he is. Mark Dotson, the Dotman. We can and will. Probably a good thing. He's butting right up to class because I keep him on for an hour, sitting around talking about basketball. I had some football questions I'll get to as well. We didn't get to any of that. I put up that roster. I'll just say it again, and I'll be saying it tomorrow as well. You start talking about the keys, foul trouble, and being able to get the Cats into foul trouble. And you look, I'm just going to, I've got the roster, and you look, this is only a team that goes 6 deep. Get these guys into foul trouble, and really when you're talking about down low, if you can get Eric Dickinson, if you can get Jermaine Samuels in foul trouble, the other part that I would go to as a key to the game is just when you look at those two guys in their 6'8", 6'9", and Hunter Dickinson, say, give it to Hunter Dickinson down on the post. Yeah, that's what Michigan's. They're a get the team down, get the ball down low to Hunter Dickinson and let him go to work. Let him get that touch, and they should do that with these guys. You got to make Villanova pay when Villanova's on defense, because Villanova, those guys that I just mentioned, they can step out. They can get Hunter Dickinson into foul trouble. That's what they're talking about. The Villanova Maize and Blue review is talking about getting Hunter Dickinson in foul trouble. Put him through screen and rolls. Get him out in the 3-point line. Get him out and take him off the dribble and get him into foul trouble, because if you get him out, so the game within the game there's going to be a lot of things that you talk about that are key, and you'd love to say, yeah, shoot the ball well and limit the turnovers. That sounds good to me as well. I think the foul, and it's not like saying, oh, the refs are going to suck. Look, you're going to say that every time you watch a college basketball game, but you need to force these refs to blow the whistle. And how do you do that? You get the ball down low and you attack the basket. And Diabate can do the same thing. Instead of, he's got a lot of different moves. His favorite, talking about Diabate, is that right-hand hook, but he also can attack. And I would tell him and emphasize, and I'm guessing that they have done this. Hey, when you're moving forward and you're attacking, just go up strong. Don't worry about change. Try to dunk the ball. Dunk the ball, big fella. Get those guys into foul trouble, because the more you can get them over, and the quicker you can get them to the bench in the first half, the more you can get them to 5 in the second half, the better chance Michigan is going to have in this game. That's how I see it. I think, these you don't have to reinvent the wheel here when you're talking about what's going to be key in this game. Victor Valiant, we want to thank the fine folks at Valiant. We are running a survivor pool on the Maize and Blue review. I have taken up the task of running the pool. First time I've ever done it. And each day that there's an NCAA tournament game, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you just had to pick a winner. And if you're able to do that, you moved on. And I was looking great for the first 2 days. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was looking good the first day. I picked Michigan. They were 11th seed. You also get those points that whatever the seed is, and Michigan has an 11th seed. I was off and running. I got a little greedy because the next day I picked Davidson against Michigan State. That was an excellent game, and Davidson had a shot down the stretch. You watched the game, probably like 3 possessions there late. State really cranked up the defensive pressure, and then they were able to beat Davidson. I was bounced out of the survivor pool, but the fine folks at Valiant have they're going to supply our first and second place winners with some Valiant gear, so I wanted to thank them at this time. I want to thank you for watching. I've got one other thing here for you. And for that, I am going to bring up, are you familiar with the Back to the Future movies? I think it was Back to the Future 2, where Marty is in the town square and, you know, up on the billboard where it's like the Cubs win the World Series. And then this 3D animated shark comes down and like bites or would bite Marty's head off. Marty's freaking out. And it's like, hey, that's how the future is going to look. A really cool 3D type billboard there. Well, in Japan, they have a shoe advertisement, or Nike. Let's see if I can get this up. Blow the whole screen up, Dennis. So there you see, this is going to be a 3D animation, and maybe this will, you know, you can see this definitely coming your way in Times Square, maybe downtown Detroit, maybe right outside of the Chrysler Center. Roll it. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Get the 3D, you get the shoe. Could I see that being Jumpman and Mason Blue? Michigan's got that. I know that I just saw that they're looking for their new scoreboard. One outside, maybe it's got the capabilities of doing something like this. There it is. I don't need to run it again. Let me just pause it. There it is. How about that? Coming to a billboard near you in the future. The future is now. That was happening out in Tokyo. Tomorrow, it's game day. And at 1 o'clock, we are going to crank it up to 10. 10 max. Getting ready for Michigan basketball at night, and what? Michigan hockey during the day. Tomorrow's a Michigan day. You're a Michigan fan. You're a Michigan fan, and you like tournament play. You like the number 1 seeded Michigan hockey team being in action. I think that's a 3 o'clock game. If your producer, you can check that. And then 7:29, the nightcap. So from 3, and I'm all set. I'll be here at 1. From 1 o'clock till 10 o'clock tomorrow, it's Michigan time. Maybe somebody's correcting me because I see a comment that has come up through. It's Antoine. It's always good to hear from Antoine. You're out there anytime. You know, you're watching this show live. You want to use the comment section. We'll throw the question right up on the screen. And I also wanted to say, I've only said this once in the past, but let me say it again. If you're somebody that wants to, you saw Dotman join us via the video. If you wanted to join us via video, if you wanted to join us called in, like at a call-in show, find me on Twitter. You can direct message me there, and we'll make that happen. That's the easiest way. I should probably, when I say this, be able to throw up my email. It's Dennis S. Fithian at Gmail. Email me, send me a direct message on Twitter, send me a message here during the comment of your email, and I'll get in contact with you, and we can have you up. Not only will we read your feedback, and that's fine. You just want to put, I say jest. It's great. It adds to the show. You can do that. Or if you wanted to come on via audio or even video, let's do it. I'm ready to do it. Antoine says, I'd like to have that in Michigan Stadium with our mascot jumping out of the scoreboard. That would be cool. That's right. The one thing I was reading, speaking of comments, Antoine, it's great to hear from you. And in fact, you would be the one that this is directed at the most, because I wouldn't mind hearing from you or seeing you here on the Maize and Blue Review. So get at me, Antoine. Apparently, when it comes to this new technology of the 3D coming out of the digital screen and everything, people were saying, well, if you're standing over to one side, it doesn't really look like it. You have to be looking at apparently, whatever, angle, then it looks really cool. Could I see that, knowing how things develop over time, that from any angle that you're going to see things flying out? And yes, I could. Could this be something that is utilized in sporting events? Of course. The thing here is it was about Nike. If Nike's doing it, then it is going to be happening. So where was I? Oh, I was telling you that tomorrow's going to be a great day. Tomorrow's going to be a great day on the Maize and Blue Review. It's going to be a great day of a great show on Afternoon Live. It is going to be an awesome day with hockey and basketball. The way Michigan sports going, you're probably like, you know what? Yeah, the gymnastics team, the women's back. There's probably 4 or 5 other things going on. If you're a Michigan fan and a team playing for a championship or in some kind of tournament or something, so I apologize if I missed any of that. But it's all happening. If you're somebody that is a member of the Maize and Blue Review, we'll see you there over the next few hours. You should join up the Maize and Blue Review. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will be with you tomorrow. We'll be going crazy. As crazy as you can go as we get ready for a big day, big Thursday in Michigan sports. Till then, take care. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.